Welcome back everybody to Starting Your Own Private Practice. This week's episode of reality checking. Last week we worked on setting up your dream and really spending some time thinking about what you want from your life. And so this week we're going to see if we can pair that with reality. The purpose of this episode is to scale your dream. Last week was all about setting up what your dream is. This week is all about making that dream, cash, clients all line up. If you haven't seen the video or done the worksheet from last week, please click the link here and fill that out before you watch this video, because then it'll make a little bit more sense. So take a look at what you wrote down last week, and underneath the first section is an area where you were supposed to write down themes. So this is going to be important for this week's worksheet. So you're going to want to pull those themes out and really focus on them while you're working with the reality checker. We built a program in Excel that will do all of the numbers for you, but you can also have a free worksheet that you can just plug in the numbers and do the math yourself. Everything is explained, and that's what we're going to be working with this week. And so if you wanted to download that form now, it is attached to the link below. And pause the video and we'll see you in a second. Now that you have your form downloaded, make sure you enter in your themes from your last week's worksheet into the top and really focus on these while we're doing the rest of it. These themes help me find clarity when I find that things start to get muddied and I'm not sure what direction to go in, I'm not sure what prices to set and that kind of stuff. I really look back onto what is the point of why I'm doing this? What was the motivations that I made these choices? It'll also help you later down the road if you hit the bumpy spots where you're not finding the clients that you like or you find that you're overworked depending on your situation. First off, let's fill in the area on how much money you want to make in a year. And so the key there is want to make it in a year rather than need to make in a year. We're going to do that later. Underneath that top section, fill in that first. There's another section that talks about the different types of clients. And so there's only 3 groups that we put in there for you. You can of course add your own groups. The ones that we put in are individual clients, so those would be people that you see one-on-one, group clients, and so you have multiple people in one session, and presentations. There's a lot of demand for professionals to be doing presentations to schools and organizations. It could be on topics like ergonomics or even your specialty field. You could be presenting to peers in your departments as well. In the section below, there are 3 areas that talk about individuals, groups, and presentations. So these were the 3 pre-made sections for different income sources. If you want to fill in your amounts of time that you would estimate that these would take, and then the percentages of your caseload that you would want to do these for. This section is important because the different types of clients usually come with different types of income. The worksheet is based on an hourly rate, and that your hourly rate is always consistent. Of course, this isn't always the case, but this worksheet is just to give you a ballpark idea of where you would be landing with different kinds of work and what kind of time commitment you're looking at. Let's take a look at my worksheet. Let's say I want to bring in $100,000 a year. That's my want. So if we take that and we divide it by 12 and then divide it into an hourly rate, that's what we have to charge, right? Well, not really. There's a lot of other things like expenses and taxes, and you have to really accommodate for the time that these things take. A lot of people will undercharge because they underestimate the amount of time that they need, and then they really lose out in the end because they pay themselves $4 an hour, and nobody wants to do that. The worksheet is designed to change based on the information that you put into the white spaces. I filled out my worksheet to assume that there's going to be 10 holidays that fall into a work week during the year, and that we would have 6 weeks of vacation, and that I only want to work 4 days a week, and that I only want to work for 8 hours a day. That sounds pretty easy. I think I can handle that. I don't really want to work for 40 hours a week. That sounds kind of hard. That pops out about $93,000 a year at $100 an hour, which isn't that bad. That's pretty close to what my target is. I initially filled out my group, individual, and presentation styles as 25% individuals, 10% groups, and 65% presentations because I love doing presentations. So then this pops out that I would have to carry a caseload of 5 clients a month, 1 group session, and then I would have to do 7 presentations in a month. So that actually sounds like a lot when you put it that way. Presentations usually involve travel, so I don't know if I want to do that. Let's play with those numbers again. Let's change it to 70% individuals, 10% groups, and 20% presentations. So that would pop out 14 active clients, which is very normal for a caseload, 14 group sessions, and 2 presentations a month. So that's a lot more manageable, not quite as much travel. That's my top target. Let's find out what the bottom target is. So this is the stuff that you need to make to be able to cover your bills, feed your family, all of that kind of stuff. Let's say to cover all of the bills of the household, not just mine, let's just say that our whole house needs about $4,000 a month. So that would be almost $50,000 a year to cover all of the bills. So this isn't any play money, this is just bills and food, that kind of stuff, the absolute necessities. This is where it gets tricky. I don't necessarily want you to drop your hourly rate. This gets dangerous because you don't want to undervalue yourself and you don't want to undervalue your profession. Especially when you're starting out, this is a trap that a lot of therapists fall into, and then they become discouraged because they're working very hard and not making the income that they want. Pricing is an episode that we're going to cover a little bit later, but for now it would be good to call some other people who are in private practice and ask them what they're charging. Or you could go onto public sites like your workers' compensation areas or your automobile insurance and ask them what they're charging for your profession per hour. That will give you a ballpark of what you should be putting in that hourly rate and what you shouldn't be going under for an hourly rate. The area that I do want you to change is back over on the side, the area that talks about how much you work per week, how many hours, that sort of stuff. I changed mine to say that I work 1 full 8-hour day a week. And so that popped out about $21,000 over in the annual after taxes area. Oh my goodness, that's not enough. And so if we bump that up a little bit to 2.5 days, then I come in over $50,000 after taxes. So now I know that the minimum caseload I need is to fill 2.5 days a week, and that way I will be able to have my 6 weeks of holidays still, my 10 holidays a year that land in a work week, and that I'll still be able to pay the household bills. This means that I would need to find 6 clients for the regular, 1 group session, and 1 presentation a month. And that's with those new percentages. Let's set them up to something different. Let's have them set up to 40% individuals, 20% groups, and 40% presentation. That would mean that I only have to have 4 active clients a month, 1 running group session, and 2 presentations. That sounds really manageable, and that's all I need to make my basic payments, my absolute need for my household. For your homework this week, you're going to want to play with the worksheet, so you can download the Word document below and just fill in and do the math yourself, or you can purchase our Excel version. Of course, you would need to have Word and Excel for these files to work. But yeah, you can download the Excel version and then you just punch in the numbers in the white blank spaces and it will do all of your tax and hourly calculations for you. It'll pop it all out on the right hand column and then you just have to fill out everything on the left hand column. Next week, we're going to talk about how to set your prices and to not feel bad about this. This is a huge area that I hear about, that it's very hard to set your prices, and we'll talk about why it's difficult and why it shouldn't be difficult and some tips and tricks on how to make it easier.